How you doing?
Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Brain, but if Ann B. Davis and Susan B. Anthony, who be Arthur?
Narv. How you guys doing tonight?
Thanks for coming. This
I
is
say
great.
tonight because somewhere in the world it's night.
Yeah.
So.
Sometime, yeah.
Well,
All right, guys. So we're running
follow
through
your lead, pal.
Yeah, we're running through a few questions, getting you guys warmed up. We have an hour. We
Great.
have 1,000 voices. So whoever wants to go first, we're going to go, I guess, 1, 2, 3 until we hit 1,000. Is
okay, great. We
Really
probably
just want
get
to run
through,
down and do
that just all 1,000?
3 at a time.
we ought to get through about 47 voices.
No, so
We could do that 333 times with somebody getting to do an extra voice.
Yeah.
Why not?
so you guys have all had numerous roles, tons of roles. But not every role you've had has lasted like, we can't all be Naruto. We can't all have 3 million episodes.
Sure.
So how do you find stability in this market, in voice acting specifically?
Car repossessing. No.
It's really the luck of the draw. I've been lucky to be on some long-running things, and I've been, I've been fortunate to be on some short-running things. I'm grateful for every job. There are just, there's a lot of content going on, and so, you show up, you swing at every pitch, you do your best, and you go and have lunch. After that, it's up to the casting director, and
Yeah, it's it's a freelance job, and I'm sure we have people here who are entrepreneurs and freelancers, and like any other showbiz gig, going into it that you're not going to get everything, and that's just the nature of the beast. But when things get slow, and I've been doing this longer than most of these people have been alive, I remind myself that I chose to be here. I chose to be an actor. Nobody shoved a gun in my mouth and said, you got to be an actor. So I give myself about 30 seconds to feel sorry for myself and then say, okay, you better take a punch and go on to the next one. So ultimately, it is an incredible thrill to be able to make your living doing something you would essentially do for free. And it's your own choice.
Yeah, that's true. It's a real honor. I mean, this is stuff I've been doing since I was a kid, tape recording myself and just making up voices. And it is a circus, and it's an artistic career. Like you're saying, it's not just one job. You're gonna gain and lose a job all the time. That's just part of the deal, and you're very lucky if you get to stay with something for a really long time, and that's an honor. And you say thank you. I'm glad to be Hulk for this long, or I'm glad to be whatever. But that, like you're saying, it doesn't always happen that way, and so you just keep roll, like Mo said, you just keep
and it's all,
throwing.
like Freddie said, it's all about gratitude. We are we know how lucky we are to be here. Yeah.
So you guys have talked before about how voice acting it's a community. It's a community of people. Everyone. Everyone who's out there. Well, not everyone, but there's a core group of you. What is it like working with a community that's that tightly knit?
Oh, it's becoming a bigger and bigger community because animation itself is so ubiquitous. Not Freddie, he's a youngster of the group, but when Mo and I got to LA, it was ABC, CBS, and NBC Saturday morning, and the occasional thing on, local television that was a syndicated show. But now, it's just, you guys know how big animation is. And also there's the advent of celebrity talent who are involved in, a lot of major motion pictures, animated motion pictures. So the small group has become sort of exponentially larger. But I've had the pleasure of knowing Maurice for 30 years and Freddie probably the last 10 or 12. And
We should celebrate.
we should.
We should
go
have
to
an anniversary.
Let's go to MomoCon.
MomoCon.
Yeah.
And these guys are my heroes, and I get to work with them, and that's just like, what? You just feel, it's huge for a guy like me. It's a big deal. To meet the people, you go, oh man, I really admire this guy's work, and then go, oh my God, I get to do this with these guys. So really, it becomes an honor to be part of the community.
You are so much part of you know,
Amen.
The top, the cream, the very cream of the community, Fred.
Oh, Toucan.
It is really amazing to watch what has happened.
Thank you, man.
With your career, from being a guy who was doing it for a while, and then it's like we have that moment where you go, "Who's this new guy?
Yeah.
Who's this Fred Tatasciore? I just lost a job to Fred Tatasciore? Wait a second. I lost another job to Fred Tatasciore? Who is Fred Tatasciore? And then I meet
Sam
you,
Kinison.
and I go, of course I lost the job to
Yeah.
Fred Tatasciore.
Oh, no.
He's amazing.
Right.
So
Now my head's blowing.
No, you're great, and now you are. It won't be long till they start, writing veteran
Yeah.
Fred Tatasciore, voiceover veteran, because that happens.
Is that right?
They
We
tag
need
you with
a
things.
Fred type
And
or a
I
Maurice
just
type.
became voiceover veteran Maurice LaMarche.
Really?
About a year ago, I was like, really? I'm at veteran now. I remember when I was newcomer Maurice LaMarche. Hi, I'm Maurice. I have 30 days.
Yeah.
30 days of doing voices. Yeah.
I like your veteran voice.
Yes.
You're veteran.
We used to do cartoon voices. Locked and loaded. Let's do a cartoon.
But the truth is also, and you guys have probably noticed this if you've been to other shows, there is, having done stage and live action and all that, the actors who, the folks you listen to for years and years and years are the most unpretentious, gifted people, let alone
Moi?
pretentious.
Thank you.
No, it's true, and because it's not about how you look or how you fit the suit. Frank Welker is probably the best of us, but Frank is just he's like, you talk to him, he's like a bricklayer at your house. He's the most unassuming, nicest guy, who is.
And if you need a wall finished up.
Yeah, you can do that.
Right?
But it's a gas. These people are the nicest people you'd ever want to meet, and they're so talented.
And it's interesting too, because you're working with your best friends are,
Exactly.
your partners, your competitors, and all that, and no one really is going like, oh, I'm going to angle on this or compete against this. You're trying to do your best voice.
Yeah.
So you're not really going, oh, I'm going to get the edge on him, or you don't really. You hear it and you go, oh, I see why he got it, or I understand why. So
Right.
it's competition, but it's really with yourself. It's less about. So everyone kind of sticks together. It's very interesting. We'll get each other
It's
work.
not, and it's not manufactured. It's competitive, but it's not contentious.
Right. That's a better way
The
to put it.
attitude that we have amongst each other and the other folks whom we've talked about and is utterly honest. And we're so grateful to work with people that we would choose to have to our homes. It's great.
Yeah.
A lot of humility at the table here. It's a lot of selfless humility. You guys are great.
You guys are great.
Sorry, I wanted to gush for a second. It's exciting for me to be up here with heroes too. I love all of you guys and all of your work. So that's my moment. But you guys you're not typecast as a voice actor. You can be to an extent. I mean, you guys have played some pretty gruff macho heroes. But do you ever get the chance to showcase a more sensitive side? Have you gone out for something completely out of your wheelhouse to just see what happens?
Oh, you hope for that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a type per se. I know there was a little while there where I had 4 scientific geniuses across 4 different cartoons.
Yeah.
I had Egon on The Real Ghostbusters. And that was dovetailing into a show called Space Goofs, where I played a character named Ethno, also the scientific genius of the group. And then that was just on top of Captain Simian and the Space Monkeys, where I played a character named Splitsy Dr. Splits, who half the time he was the scientist. He talked like John Houseman, and then he'd just all of a sudden you hear boing, and then he'd become the ship's mechanic, Splitsy. and then of course this little lab mouse character, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
And Victor Von Doom. Yeah,
oh yes,
another
and
science
Dr.
guy.
Victor Von Doom.
Yeah.
I forgot about Doom. Yeah, no, so it's like, and the goof of that is, I'm a high school dropout.
No.
I'm just good at sounding smart.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not very smart.
Yes, you are.
I just pronounce big words really well. Because when I was a little kid, my dad, who used to be a broadcaster, left broadcasting. He started out with Alex Trebek and Peter Jennings at a television station in Ottawa, Canada. Ottawa, Canada. No, you'll get to that, I'm sure. But anyway, notice I did it while he was drinking, so he couldn't cut in. Anyway, he went right into pharmaceutical sales, because that was measurable. He knew if he sold well, he'd make more. And he'd bring home all these pamphlets, and I'd sit there with him. I'd be 5 years old, trying to pronounce the name of the chemical. Diamond hydronate, Daddy? Yeah. Okay. Acetylsalicylic acid? Very good, son. So I learned to get out a lot of syllables early, and that's why I play Scientific Geniuses.
Really?
That's it.
So wild.
Yeah, that's it.
Typecasting for me was just for a while. I kind of yelled my way in because I did a lot of video games, so a lot of it was, medic, a lot of scary stuff. So I became a monster. I had to be a monster for everything for years. And it got to the point where and I really started as a comedian. Like I started just as voices and cartoons and doing and that's just what I fell into. And I liked doing animal sounds and all these creature things. And it became to the point where they said, he does speaking roles, right? Like he does, like they really didn't know. Like, and he does, do you do regular acting and stuff, or no, and it was fun to finally get parts that were lighter or more humorous or just even a human. It was interesting, but yeah, it was.
Well, and I went just the opposite. Virtually everything I got initially was, sort of young hero stuff, and then they started finding out that I could sing, and that I would sing in character.
You started out as a singer.
I started out as a singer. You're right. I was a singer before anything, a singer and an actor. And the great thing that I learned many, many years ago was that nobody cared what I looked like. So I could be hired for things that I would never in a million years been cast for in an on-camera role. And so that's really the thing, is that if you stick around long enough, you'll begin to get opportunities. And that old axiom about luck is when opportunity meets preparation is really absolutely true. You will sooner or later in life, irrespective of what you do, you'll get a crack at it. It's up to you to be prepared for it.
And if you have hemorrhoids,
then you get
it's when opportunity
H.
meets preparation H.
Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again with the chemicals.
Yeah, no buts about it. So yeah, I mean, it is for obvious reasons a great gig for an actor, but there still is a point at which you sort of are typecasted, and then they start saying, "Oh my God, Freddie Tatasciore is a fantastic
He's doing a
actor
higher
when he
voice
starts
than he normally would."
talking." Yeah.
And this
Kevin
is actually
Michael
my real
Richardson.
voice.
Kevin
This is
Richardson
really
too,
weird,
right? Kevin Michael Richardson does all those big
Kevin,
giant voice things,
big
and then
guys.
he plays the son on.
On Cleveland. He's
on
Cleveland
Jr.
Yeah.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah.
Will you wipe me, Daddy?
Yeah, he
It's
plays the
fantastic.
baby.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And Barney.
Because you are the quintessential good guy. Not only what he plays, Robert Paulson probably
real
has the
life.
kindest soul of anybody in the entire
shucks.
business. Followed
It's
closely
true.
by Fred Tatasciore. By just a millimeter. They're two of the nicest guys in the business. And you get cast that way. You're always playing very, very, good guy characters. Have you ever played anybody thoroughly bad?
I would love to. The only one somebody asked me that the other day. I don't do many video games, but I did one years ago in which I played a character called Cyborg Ninja in one of the Metal Gear games. It was a bad guy, and not too many. Most of the stuff
on Planet Sheen, weren't you a couple of crazy bad aliens?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I get is humorous, and I played a character that was not a bad guy, but he was a badass on a show called Biker Mice from Mars, in which I was. I got to do kind of a Clint Eastwoody kind of guy.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't get hired for really very many bad guys, and I think there is a certain amount of type. Like Eric Bauza is one of those new guys we're talking about who is incredibly talented, and he gets hired for bad guys, good guys,
Big guys, small guys.
Small
I mean,
guys. He's
he's
about
an
this
example
big.
of how this job is shape-shifting. You're a shapeshifter. Despite whatever your looks are, your gender, your ethnicity, you can just, and Kevin Michael Richardson is another example. He played Barney, all right? Kevin Michael Richardson's playing Barney, and James Arnold Taylor, Fred.
Right.
James Arnold Taylor's a little guy.
Little skinny fella.
Yeah, he's just
It's hilarious. You're like,
actually, I did play a really bad guy on there was a comic book series that's been very successful for years in England called Dan Dare, Pilot of the Future.
Right.
And it was an entire British cast except for me, and I played a really bad guy that was a disembodied brain floating around.
Oh, how funny.
Called the MomoCon, but I think we did 13 episodes, and I don't even know if it was ever released, at least over here. But it was a great cast. It was Tim Curry and, Clive Revel.
Oh, wow.
Julian Sands. It was all a bunch of British actors. But anyway, yeah, that was the only, I think that I can think of the only real bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
No, that's cool. I just, you know, because you're a wonderful
That's a
actor,
good question.
I know you could tear it up as a bad guy.
Fun.
Yeah.
You'd be a great bad guy.
So, you guys are all, again, prolific, great at what you do. Was there a moment you kind of discovered you could do this, like a defining moment where you said, I found my voice, and here it is?
Well, Mo.
Freddie.
For me, it was, I just found I liked to perform. I was about in 5th grade. I had a puppet, a dog puppet. And I just started teaching the class how to blow a dog's nose. And for some reason, I just, this kind of voice for the... And then it just became a thing.
But
and
you,
then,
Freddie, you and Mo both were stand-ups, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to love to do, you probably did too, like growing up in school doing impressions of teachers or anything like that. I used to get on the PA at my school and pretend I was the principal. I did terrible things like that. And I found people, it started to, it's early on. Early on, I liked to do impressions.
They were receptive
Yes.
to it?
Yeah. Not the principal, but...
No, never the principal.
Later he was, but yeah.
Yeah, I found out at the high school reunion, at the 10-year reunion, the principal actually took my wife aside and said, you know, we always knew he was special. And we gave him a lot of leeway to develop because we knew he wasn't graduating. So. No. No, my absence is actually, I actually took my report card into the office and said, how are you failing me? Look, I got a 60 in this class, 60%. No, that's 60 absences. You can't possibly pass this class. You've missed it 60 times. It was phys ed, screw it. Anyway, I discovered that moment for me, like I used to do voices going to school in 1st grade. I loved, what was the name of the buzzard? Remember the Warner Brothers buzzard that
Yeah.
What was it?
Was it?
Beaky Buzzard?
Beaky.
Was it?
Is that his
Thank
name?
you.
Beaky. Okay,
remember
so
the voice?
Beaky was really my first voice. You know, I use that. Boop, boop, ba-roo. I can't do it without doing the wings.
Yeah.
And so I'm in kindergarten, walking to school doing that, and the other kids thought I was very, very strange, and it was the first time I saw the school psychologist, and he just said, my mother wanted to know, like, why is he walking around doing these voices, and he just wants attention, and she was like, no, there's something deeper, there's something wronger, yeah. But where it really clicked for me was in junior high. This show, Columbo. Anybody remember Columbo? Okay, so this show Columbo starring Peter Falk, who was the grandfather in The Princess Bride, the one who reads the story to little Fred Savage. Princess Bride fans here? Okay, cool. So,
By the way, you guys are seeing this on the screen, right?
you got the screen, right?
When Maurice does this, you have to make sure and watch
the screen,
his
not
face.
me. So, Mr. Fraser, Mr. Rob Fraser, our math teacher, is in the schoolyard in 1973 after this show Columbo comes on the air, and he's doing this horrible Columbo impression. And I walk up to him and I go, "Excuse me, sir, Mr. Fraser.
Look at his eyes.
There's been a murder here. You're killing a Peter Falk impression." And he busted up, and the 5 girls, from my class that he was, and it was the first time I'd gotten a laugh or approval in my life. And at that crucial age of 7th grade, 15 years old.
It's like a drug.
Yeah, eighth grade, whatever. I was like 14, 15 years old. So one thing led to another. I started watching TV and just absorbing it. Next thing I discovered I could do Tony Curtis. was the next voice I could do. He was on a show called The Persuaders with the late Roger Moore, and now we're persuading in heaven together. And you know, so just by the time I got out of junior high, I had 30 voices.
Yeah, and
I made a list, and I had 30 people on the list.
And the biggest part, I remember seeing Maurice on the Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedian specials in the 80s, because Mo is a world-class impressionist, but that was his gig. That's what you did.
Yeah, I got it. I went from that into stand-up comedy, first in the comedy club in Toronto called Yuck Yucks that launched Jim Carrey and Howie Mandel and Norm Macdonald, and then came down to Los Angeles, did the Comedy Store, did stand-up comedy until about 1987 or so, and that kind of dovetailed on this little side career I built up doing Inspector Gadget, Real Ghostbusters, and you know, it took over. It became my full-time thing.
And you are the longest voice of Toucan Sam in the history of that.
Well, I don't want to discuss personal details, Rob, but oh, you mean holding the job the longest?
Yeah, you are. You're the Fruit Loops guy.
I've been the Fruit Loops bird longer than the original guy now. I've been, Paul Frees was Toucan Sam from 63 until 87, and I from 87 to 2017. I've followed my nose to a successful career. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I love that shit. I love it. It's so great.
So I noticed when you were flapping your arm earlier doing the, was it Beaky Buzzard? How much does physicality play a role in your work, like when you're in the studio? And do you ever get embarrassed while doing it?
Well, I think that's part of the reason I love doing it in voiceover, because that's where I'm freest. Strangely enough, in that little room with the carpeting on the walls, you know, and it's like, I don't care. You know, as long as I don't bump the mic stand, that's the only sin. So I physicalize everything, and I assume different faces for the characters. The brain always looks like this. Yes, my friend. You know, I can't do it with a flat facial affect. Yes, my friend. It doesn't work. Yes, my friend. Yeah. Back to the lab to plan for tomorrow night. And he gets all animated when he does Pinky.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
It's not unusual for the actors to get to really sort of move around and crazy gesticulate. John Dimaggio is another one of those
oh, my
guys,
God.
man.
Yeah.
He gets really into his thing. Welker, the same thing. He manipulates his... I mean, I work on Curious George with Frank, and it's just remarkable that he has all these lines and parentheses that he's trying to, you know, get across to the audience in sort of chimpanzee speak. Yeah. And it's the craziest, coolest thing.
He did that on Ghostbusters too, because he was Slimer.
Yeah.
And I'd see the scripts, and it would say, curious sound, hungry sound, gee, Peter, what do you want to do? But always in brackets. And he would have to emulate the meaning of the line without uttering a word, and he nailed it every time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, we do move around a lot. And remember, most of the people who do this are stage actors.
Yeah, they
or
came from
stand-ups,
almost came for the
it's
stage.
not like they're a bunch of folks who are, you know, restrained and reserved anyway.
Yeah.
We bounce off the walls for sure.
And it helps with your sound, too. It helps with your acting, because you're trying to physicalize what's going on in the scene. So if Hulk has to, for example, has to punch, fight, jump, I try to make believe I'm actually creating that for myself in the scene, going, and you hope I don't knock over like a mic stand or anything like that, but I get very active, depending on the character.
But always aware of mic technique. It's like you move every part of your body, except your head, which stays exactly this far away from the microphone.
Yeah. That's Robbie. You're amazing. You'll go all over, but this guy is like right on the mic.
You never move.
Like a bobblehead. But you're the Hulk.
I know, but I'm
like
crazy.
I know.
And I have to move around a lot.
Yeah.
For most of the characters, some characters you sit, some you're standing, some, don't you find, like you have to have your face in it, like you said, you have to have your face in a certain way for some of the characters.
Yeah, no, it's very funny.
I have to have a fist.
Engineers will say, you're sitting or standing, and I'll intuitively go, no, I sit for this character.
Yeah.
Like I sat for the brain. The brain always was a sit-down voice.
Yeah.
But other characters, I'm on my feet. You know, I'll sit down between takes, or I'll just rest my butt on a stool. But I won't, because it sounds low energy if you
Yeah.
You know, if
like
you're-
Shifu for me is sitting.
Yeah.
Always being very calm. Po, let's watch out now. You know, it's always very, but
Yeah.
Hulk has to stand.
I did Futurama on my feet always.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
are
all my characters were,
pretty
even the ones that were sitting like, Morbo doing the news. Tonight's news, doom! But you gotta be up, you gotta get all your breath.
Yeah.
So we talked before briefly about the voice acting community growing much larger. And it seems like every animated film, feature film that comes out has this laundry list of SNL cast members and other TV and film celebrities. Does that make your jobs harder on a day-to-day basis? Does it make it harder to make inroads then into that industry, or is that something you even want to do?
Ask Billy West.
Yeah.
He's the man to ask about this. Really. This is his crusade. I'm of the mind that if you've got a SAG card, or now a SAG-AFTRA card,
Yeah.
you can be in anything. You know,
Right.
if you've got a big show, or if you're
Sure,
coming
right.
from out of nowhere. But I don't begrudge those actors those jobs. There's just times I go, well, I could have done that. But I've gotten to be in my fair share of Disney
Yeah,
films.
man, you've been in some
I was the
giant
king in
ones.
Frozen, and I was Mr. Big in Zootopia, and I'm a
Zootopia?
very lucky guy. But I know they also know that they feel that the parents will come out to the movie with the kids if their favorite SNL star is in it. I think it's a marketing thing. I don't know.
It helps get the film done for sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they think, oh, well, if I have a John Cleese or Ben Affleck, whoever voicing something, oh, I got marquee value. And
Yeah,
a lot of
and-
studios go, yes, we'll say yes
And
to
that
that.
counts in the promotion phase of
Yeah.
the movie, too. There's going to be more people wanting to interview Ben Affleck than are going to want to interview me. So to promote the film, they also put these fine actors in their film. I understand
It makes
Yeah.
sense. My only problem with it, and the only thing that kind of gets me, is that the anonymity sometimes of the voice actor. For example, if I said I'm going to make a movie, it's an animated movie, Billy West and Maurice LaMarche are going to be in it. And that could be enough marquee value for me to go see it.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that bothers me. It's not so much that, oh, famous person got in. Because they got in because they're talented, or they are good at this, or maybe they wrote the part for the person. But like in Japan, for example, the voice actors are known. You will go to a movie, an animated movie, because you know that person.
Right.
Oh, Rob Paulson's in that. And they have concerts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think there's been something kind of skewed in Hollywood. That's the only thing. I don't begrudge it. Famous people.
There's actually a special word for voice actor in Japanese. Does anybody know it? Seiyu. I was having lunch. Caitlin Glass is a good friend of mine, and she was in Los Angeles directing something. And we went to have lunch at a sushi bar called Sugarfish. And the waitress came over and said, and a little Japanese girl, and she said, with all the sincerity in the world, "Excuse me, are you Seiyu?" And Caitlin said, yes, I am. And the girl had tears in her eyes. It's a real position of honor in Japanese culture, and I was really taken with, the girl's reaction to it. I'm moving to Japan. Screw you people.
Big in Japan.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, it's
I'm a Seiyu, goddammit.
Mo and I were talking about this recently. It's the nature of Hollywood. It's the nature of our culture. Celebrity will always have a certain amount of cachet, and that is just the way it is.
Well, they're better people, right?
Yeah, they're not,
Oh, no? Okay.
they're better people. But it's a producer's option. If he believes that giving Brad Pitt $500,000 to be the talking lizard in the next movie that he's producing because it will sell tickets, good for him. That means it's my job to be as proficient as I can be at my career or at my chosen field, so that I can play in the mix. But there's no question that all of us would have a better opportunity to play at a much higher level if we'd all spent 3 years on a sitcom. It's just the nature of celebrity, and so I don't waste any time worrying about it, because I got to make a living and I want to work. I want to be creative.
And there's enough out there.
But I don't get. Some people get angry about it, and it's a drag when you know that, the person that's going to get that job is going to make 10 times the money. But again, like I said at the beginning of the afternoon, nobody forced me to be in this position. So it just sounds hackneyed, but it's true. It is what it is. So we just try to get better.
Sometimes you get worried. There are times where you're like, my part, you see the script as you're doing it, like parts getting bigger and bigger, and you're thinking, uh-oh, they're going to go that to,
That's right.
That's going to Bryan Cranston, not me.
Maurice, in fact, Maurice has this theory that if Pinky and the Brain were to get a reboot, they would hire Peter Dinklage as the Brain.
And Russell Brand is Pinky.
Russell Brand is Pinky.
That's why I'm in no hurry for Pinky and the Brain, the motion picture.
Yeah.
I know we won't be in it.
I know. Otherwise, we all get together and kill them.
No.
So, from a light topic such as getting everyone together and killing them, to when you see the drawing or the artwork of a character you're going to voice, what's kind of like what goes through your head when you're looking at that? You've got this. I don't know if you have the full mock-up or a full color picture, but you're looking at the character and you go.
I go, this is my job.
Yeah.
I get to look at this unique drawing and figure out what he sounds like. That just feels so cool to me. I every now and again I just stop and pinch myself that this is what I get to do for a living. But what I do is, if you're talking about technique, I look at, as I looked at Brain, I just try to inhabit it. I just try to go, okay, let's climb inside that skin, and what would that sound like? What would if I were in there? What would it sound? And that's what I do. And it's silly and it's playful, but that's what creativity is. It's play. You stop playing, get out of the business. Yeah. So I just, that's my thing. I just look at it and go, all right, I get to be him. See, I know there were a lot of cosplayers here, and you're a cosplayer. Yes.
I'm so glad you are. Otherwise, I would have to talk to you about your hair color, my friend.
But and I'm not a big fan of Halloween or dressing up. The few times I've gotten into a costume, I've sort of gone, I don't know, I feel weird, because I use my voice as the costume. Yeah. That's my form of cosplay. It's like I get to be a cartoon character with my voice, and then 8,000 animators bring it to life. Yeah. But so I don't feel I need to hide my physicality that much. So that's it. That's me. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much what Mo said. It's the great thing about it is as we get older, we're only still limited by our imagination and the sort of kindness of folks to hire us. And there are new people coming in all the time, as it should be. I didn't know anybody when I came to Hollywood in 1979. So there are supposed to be new folks feeding the fire. And the people that are making the shows now are also younger. If you're fortunate, as we are, to have a body of work that people can draw on, all of a sudden you get folks your age who graduate from Cal Arts and say, I'm making a new show, and I get to hire these guys I grew up listening to. And it's a huge
well, that actually happened to us.
Yeah, with
Justin Roiland.
Rick and Morty.
We went in for this new show without having to audition, and there was this kid, Justin Roiland, and he just said, I said, my first episode, well, he has the best first episode story. I don't want to step on his first. Go ahead, tell the first episode story.
The very first, and as Mo mentioned with Justin and Dan, his partner, that they hired people whom they enjoyed listening to growing up. And so the very first line that I had on Rick and Morty was the following. Where are my testicles, Summer? Now, having been married for 30 plus years, I know precisely where my testicles are. And they are not with me, they're in Los Angeles. But the point is that because of because of them listening to us, they were so excited to be able to hire people whom they grew up listening to. Yeah. What a joy that is for us.
Justin said that. Because I played his accountant after he, as the dog, takes over the world. Yeah. Something Brain could never do. I play the accountant, and I just have one line. I come in and say, we can't possibly sustain this because of and I give the figures and all this. And at the end of it, I said to Justin, I said, so I just want to know what made you think I would be good for a dog accountant without ever having me audition? He said, man, I made a vow to myself. I started drawing in high school. I took art classes, and I swore that if I ever got a show, I would hire you and Rob Paulson and Jess Harnell and Tress MacNeille. And he said, and they're all in today's episode.
Isn't that the sweetest
And
thing?
sure enough, I walked out to my car, and Jess Harnell was walking in. And Justin Roiland has kept the four of us working on Rick and Morty in some capacity or another because we affected him. We got to him at that age.
Yeah.
We got in there at that age where, the people who make your childhood feel a little better,
It's the
stick with
sweetest
you.
thing, too, because when you're working with folks who are in that age range, sort of 25 to 40, they get the biggest Jones and out of hearing you do Pinky or Yakko or Morbo or Kiff or whatever.
And I get the
it is.
biggest Jones out of hearing Justin do Rick and Morty and watching
In
him
one show.
change between those two characters.
God.
It's like
He's
he
the
is to
real
me what
deal.
I am to him.
Right.
He's amazing. He's
Yeah.
an
It's
amazing
amazing
voice
character.
actor.
I don't write and I don't draw, man. I'm just a freaking actor. Justin's the whole shooting
The
match.
whole thing.
Incredible.
I love his alcoholic burp. When he's like, Morty, we know what we got to
Yeah,
do.
I know.
You can
Crazy,
just
so
smell the
talented.
vomit.
And again, and it bears repeating, another great example. That I had them both, Dan and Justin, on my podcast at the Improv, and they, just like we're talking about, the nicest, most unassuming, decent young men, and they can't believe how lucky they are to be working in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they will, I promise you, be that way for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
An answer to your thing about the picture too, looking at a lot of times trying to figure out what they are. We have a funny set of questions you start to ask, like, this is a human? Is he a monster? Was he a vampire? What was he before he became a vampire?
Yeah.
What's his intelligence level? What does his mouth look like? How would a voice come out of that? And then oftentimes we have a writer or directors or animators you can spin off of and say, what are you looking for? What kind of, what performer would you hire to play this? What kind of sounds do you want out of this guy? Do you want to go against type? If he's a big voice, do you want to, if he's robotic, maybe I'll put him here. How robotic? Do you want this kind of robot? You just start to kind of gauge which.
Show off.
It's like, no, it's like a spice rack. And you do like your voices, like the impressions you did. I remember you did a voice, one of my favorite things. It was on, what was it, Monster and Robot? You played
Monster,
a Robot Monster. You played a Kirk Douglas character that was like part Kirk Douglas and part manic something. And it was just with that kind of like,
his name was Perry.
Perry.
And he couldn't not smile.
Yeah.
His face was frozen in a horrific rictus, and yet he was always miserable. I have a condition that makes me smile, but I hate it.
It's great.
He was great. I don't know why that show didn't take off.
No, it's too bad.
But like
Robot and Monster, I
Such
thought
a
was
good show.
brilliant.
it was.
It's just brilliant.
It was like Freddie and Mo were talking about, the whole thing still is about being unencumbered by your physicality.
Yeah.
You cannot, Billy West says it perfectly, voice actors are the most fearless actors because they don't give a shit what anybody thinks how they look. It's not about that. It's about literally leaving your grown-up self outside the door and going in and jumping in the sandbox and saying, yeah, sure, I'll try that. And you can't be afraid of looking like a goofball because that's what
Well,
puts
you do,
braces
and
on
every
your kid's
picture of me
teeth.
now is,
Yeah.
it's like if you get me in the middle doing something, it looks
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
just
but
like-
you obviously
like a
nobody
blowfish.
knows what a talking avocado sounds like. So,
I'm avocado.
yeah, you swing for the fences, baby.
That's a great talking avocado. That's the best talking avocado
I
I've ever.
appreciate this, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, so we've got about 20 minutes left, and wanted to go ahead and give you guys, the fans, a chance to ask your questions. So go ahead. There's a microphone in the. Everyone's already gone. Wow. Go for it. Go. Run. Whatever. Don't hurt anybody, please.
Everybody run quick!
Yeah.
Remember, keep it brief. Tell them you love them, but like 2 sentences, like max. All right.
2 sentences?
Well, for telling them they love you.
Oh,
Like,
no.
You say my
You may
marriage thanks a
go
lot. Here's
wrong.
my question.
No. Tell us how much you love us. No.
All right, who's first?
My name is Brian, not to be confused with Brain.
Yes.
You know what? So your name is Brian.
No one
Yes.
would ever confuse us, Brian.
Your, your name is Brian, so it's B-R-I-A-N, and if
Actually,
you
it's
obviously
B-R-Y-A-N.
well, you move. Okay, well, if it were, it had to be Y.
Yeah.
If it were AI, and you moved it around to change it to brain, that would constitute a vowel movement, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Thank you. It's a long way to get there. Thank you very much.
I know Rob gets
your
asked
waitress.
to do
It must be inordinately taxing to be such a boob.
You have no idea.
I know Rob gets asked to do the Yakko's World song all the time.
What's that? What song is that?
Yakko's World.
I'm afraid I haven't heard of it. I don't know that song
Mexico Pan.
every week for the rest of my life.
So my question is for Mo and Fred. Do either of you get asked to do something constantly like Rob does?
Yeah. Yeah, my wife was like, will you stop, please? Yeah. Constantly. Just, can you stop?
Please.
Whatever it is I'm doing, just, will you
Shut
please
up.
just stop? No, I guess I get asked for the yes from the brain. Yes, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. I used to.
The belch, too. Yeah. But I'm not going to do that here. I only get one.
Whenever you're ready. No pressure.
Do you guys see Elf?
Yeah.
You know when Will Ferrell drinks the bottle of Coke? Yeah. That's not a like a computer effect. Yeah, I know.
It's a stunt burp.
It's not a computer effect. It's not like they haven't spliced together a bunch of burps. One take wonder over here.
That's how you get the ladies.
No wonder you get chicks.
That's awesome. I've got Hulk. I get Hulk smash a lot, but the problem with Hulk smash is they say like, "Can you show my daughter the Hulk smash?" And we'll be in a restaurant, and all that little girl's gonna see is a yelling man. Yeah. Hulk smash! And like then you get kicked out of the restaurant.
The police
You know,
are called.
So it's not very good. It's like we'll go outside and we'll do it. You know.
Do you ever get the Overwatch got you in my sights?
Absolutely. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, you punks. Got you in my sight. I am your father.
No, that has been a gift, man. That Soldier 76. I got to tell you, being able to play this guy is one of my favorite heroes to ever do. So thank you guys for being just the best fans ever. You guys want an example where we'll talk about it on the video game thing, but like where the fans had a lot to say and had input on the character itself. So
Thank you, guys. We're all soldiers now.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I had a question for.
Come right in on the mic because we can't hear you.
Okay.
there you go.
I had a question for Fred. How is it working for Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
How was it? What?
How is it working for Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Oh, it was incredible. Oh, it's again, we're telling a broken record. What an honor, to have been with this character for so long. And so in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Hulk had a kind of an evolution there, and then to Avengers Assemble is different. In Earth's Mightiest Heroes, he was kind of reluctant hero, and the thing about Hulk is he really just wanted to be left alone. A lot of people think he's just about anger and being tough. I did a thing with Lou Ferrigno, and Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk, I totally had the same take on him. Was just really just leave me alone, and he gets being used too much, and he does care about people, but he was kind of on the edge. And Mightiest Heroes is when he actually decided, okay, I'm going to be part of a team. And I really love the cast and crew. We had just the best time. I'm glad you're into if you were into the show, we had a great time with it. It was an honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
First off, personal thank yous are in order. I mean, I honestly don't think you guys get enough credit. I mean, like many people said, you pretty much are the voices of our childhoods, and I personally thank you for all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very kind.
Thank you for letting us into your homes.
Thanks, pal.
There's no China missing at all.
But out of all those voices that you have done, what is that one particular voice that you'll always hold dear in your heart?
The next one. Means we're working. No, I think if I've been, as all of us have been, incredibly fortunate to have had more than one or two well-known characters, and I suppose if I had to do one, because I get to work with my friend Mo, I'd probably
pick Pinky if I had to do one more for the rest of my life. Because I get to be with Maurice LaMarche, and he has all the great sushi restaurants.
So probably Pinky, although it really is, like they say, it's like picking, your favorite child. I've had a couple of turtles and an Animaniac and a Pinky and a whatever. But I think I'd be very comfortable doing Pinky again for an awful long time.
Yeah. The same thing, I have to say. I mean, I've got a lot of characters. I so resonate with Kif Kroker on Futurama. Oh, sir, the rest of the crew doesn't share your passion for velour, And the sigh, the Kif sigh.
Oh, I love that.
That is actually my wife. I took that's her sigh when I do something
Every day.
Zap-like, when I do anything where I think I'm so smart, and she just goes, oh. Oh, So I just incorporated that into this character of Kif. So I love Kif, but I have to say, for me, Brain has got that special place in my heart. I mean, he's, because you know why? He's all about picking yourself up and starting over again after everything fell to shit.
He really is a protagonist.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is.
Yeah, and the relationship the reason it works, obviously, is because it's written beautifully, but it really is about the love these two these two characters have for each other, and that they will do anything they really believe that, it's about...
I mean, Brain will abandon the plan to save Pinky, and Pinky will do anything every episode to help Brain take over the world, It's usually Brain who gets in his own way. If you notice in the episodes, Brain messes it up. So, anyway, but I think he's the deepest character I've ever played, and I love his struggle. So, there you go. Freddie?
Again, the big green giant has been really good to me. I've just been happy to be with the Hulk for so many years and have him go from a monster. Sometimes I'm Banner, sometimes I'm not, and just having him develop and evolve. That's been a real special struggle too. Seeing that happen. Seren from Mass Effect was a great villain. I enjoyed. That was you are too kind, and. I really enjoyed playing the Emperor in Planet Sheen just because it was so much fun to be so egotistical.
Oh, my God.
I wonder what the poor people are doing.
Oh, no.
It doesn't really matter.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was the first... I'd worked with Freddie before, but that was the first show in which we got to work together regularly.
Right.
And Freddie lit that up so... Oh my God! It was just a joy to watch.
It's okay.
You killed it, Fred.
Thanks, man. No, that was fun. There's so many different characters. I also enjoyed picking up Shifu on Kung Fu Panda, the series. That's just because it's nothing without Po, but it was really neat to play the straight character. The one who was just not doing the jokes and just trying to be patient and train the student who really becomes his teacher, and that was a big thing for me too. Dustin Hoffman started that one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's it? What's it? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Maurice, I've recently watched some episodes of Sonic Underground. Now, the opposite of last question, any roles that you don't look that fondly back on?
Well, Sonic Underground wouldn't be what it was. I enjoyed doing Sonic Underground and loved working with Marcia Goodman, who directed the shows. And, unfortunately, I didn't get to work often with the other actors on the show. We were recorded separately. There was one character I wasn't that wild about. I've talked about it before. There used to be a show back in the 80s, actually probably the third show I ever got. It was called The Popples.
Was that Stu Rosen?
And I think it was Stu Rosen, yes.
Well, that, right, well,
yeah, but these were characters that were based on how you put away your socks. A popple is a
Love
is
to
a
have been at that pitch meeting.
A plushy toy that like it looks like a ball because when you put your socks away, you roll them like that, and then but when you unroll it, it's got a face. And Ted Popple would have been a welcome relief, actually. I played a character named PC Popple. He was the cutest friggin' character I've ever played. I mean, the cuteness had to be amped up, and yet it had to stay totally sincere. And he was just always up here and so cute. And if my voice broke at all, or if I ever sounded like I was parodying cuteness, they would yell at me. You know, it had to be, I couldn't bring any of my natural sort of cynicism or mockery into the character at all. I couldn't be snide in any way. They didn't even like me to be snide between takes. They were very serious about how nice this show was. And so it was a real strain, and it strained my voice, and I wasn't too sorry when it didn't go to a second season. Meanwhile, they just rebooted it, and I wasn't sorry they didn't ask me to be in it. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, I was curious because on Futurama, Animaniacs, Avengers vs. Mightiest Heroes, you all played a lot of, like, you either played multiple characters, big incidental characters, one-offs, and how does it work when it's like multiple actors in the studio, like with Futurama? Was it just like, oh, Maurice gets hedonism bot, or Billy gets robot number 5? Like, how does it work in casting that, like incidentals?
Just like that.
Yeah, actually, that's you just did it. They pick the characters for you. Sometimes they'll take the character away. Like Billy was the first Morbo, and he did Morbo as McLaughlin from the McLaughlin group, and they just felt that wasn't working. They just felt he needed to be more fearsome, and so they brought me in, and they said do something like Lur, but pitch it lower. So, or rather, they just said do like a Lur-like voice. So when they brought me in to loop it, they had pitched it lower. They had actually taken it down electronically. And then I said, oh, so you want me to just hit that but do it lower? And then I just, because Hedonism Boss voice is lower than Lur's. And so I just dropped it down to here. You know, and David Cohen was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, okay, we'll just do it like that for the rest of the show. You know, so, but yeah, I'm cast. You know, I'm on a new show right now that I can't talk about yet, soon. And yeah, we do it ensemble style. And it's like, you're going to be that guy, and you're going to be the executioner, and you're going to be the, you know, so there's just different, you know, and you go with it. And Matt made me Kiff, and he worked with me on Kiff. He said, we get Lovitz to do it, but Lovitz isn't as available. So I want him to have the snarkiness of Lovitz, but I also want him to sound tired, and I want him to sound beat up, and a little bit, you know, airy. And I thought of the idea of putting Truman Capote, who sort of sounds like this, and putting him on top of John Lovitz as well, sir. It seems the rest of the crew doesn't share your passion for velour. And I just went, seems the rest of the crew doesn't share your passion for velour. And that's how Kiff came about. But that was Matt.
Isn't that cool?
Graining working with me on that, you know.
So, yeah, sometimes it's like you're on shows like that, or for me on Family Guy and American Dad, you play utility. Then you can live your life. I mean, I lived my life in the music. They call it utility too. It's a person who plays a lot of different instruments. You'll be harmonica, tambourine, you know what. And so on Family Guy, you're Bono, Mark Twain, in a toilet in one show. You know, like you don't know what you're going to be, or they say, can you do a so and so? Can you? You know, how's your Christopher Lloyd? How's your, and you try to work it and you bring it in, and sometimes you audition, but each week they throw guard number 2 and something else, you know, and you're just, that's your gig. Right. So we go like, they say, what do you play on the show? And you go, I don't know, newscaster, alien. That was like Invader Zim too for me. It was like random stuff.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm a local professional actor here to Atlanta, and I have a question. I'm not sure when the last time this would have been an issue for you guys in particular, but when you get an audition for VO and it comes with character art, you immediately sort of get an idea of the voice in your head. of what this character sounds like based on what they look like, and then you look over at the direction and they've got something that's completely the opposite of what you came up with. How do you break yourself of that voice that you just instantly knew and go with the direction that they provided?
Well, I always go for what I interpret the direction they're asking for, and try to do my best to give them what they say they want. That doesn't always mean that what they say they want is what they end up with, and that's, I think I always include a take or two of my own instincts. I don't beat it to death. Most of the auditions these days, unfortunately, are you do it from home or your agent's office. I much prefer having the producers on the other side of the glass, because I can read them. I can see what's working and what isn't. And then in that case, they almost inevitably say, "That's great, thanks, Rob. Do you have anything you'd like to try?" And I always do, always. And it may be 180 degrees from what they ask for, because I know that I'm auditioning for more than just that piece. And I will inevitably, not inevitably, but often in my career, I've gotten a job a year later where the producers will say, "Remember when we had you audition for that thing and you didn't get it, and then you threw something in that was completely not even close to what we were asking for. It was utterly wrong, but it was really right for this." And so you red flag yourself, because it's so competitive and it's all about numbers. So you want to give them every opportunity to listen to what you do based on what they ask for, but then throw in one that might have your instinct. That's what I do. So I definitely, that's my job, is to take direction and then trust myself as well.
We have time for one more question. Sorry, folks. We started a bit late, so we're running a little bit late, but one more question. Make it a good one.
I will try.
We'll be
Thank you. So first of all, thank you all for doing what you do. You've affected all of us, I'm sure, in very, very meaningful ways. And for my question, I was wondering, as somebody who's currently doing stage acting to get eventually into voice acting, there's a certain patronizing or sort of ridicule that can come with it from either family or friends or peers. How have you dealt with that, and do you still have to deal with that even now that you're veterans and professionals?
I was very lucky. I had my father, because of his time in broadcasting, was very supportive, and told me, early, he said, "I can tell you're not going to work in an office. That's just not you. So go for your dream and go for it all the way." And my mother was supportive too, but with hand wringing. So that was very helpful. They both said something to me though: make sure you've got something to fall back on. I ignored that piece of advice.
Me too.
And I think it's the best piece of advice to ignore. If you've got something to fall back on, you'll fall back on it. And, and it will sort of become a sword to your show business career. If you have nothing else that you can do, and you've got to decide if this is all you want to do. But if you've got nothing else you want to do, don't have anything to fall back on. Push forward, because really there's nobody stopping you anyway. When you go on an audition, they want you to be the guy they can stop looking with. We go into auditions. I used to go into auditions scared that I thought they were like sadists who just wanted to put me down and tell me I didn't get the job. And couldn't be further from the truth. They want to stop looking with you. So bring them your best game. And you got to put blinders on to the whole family thing and friends thing. If anybody's telling you that this isn't for you, screw them, man. If this is your passion, if this is what you want to do, push forward on it, because you'll make incremental progress every week. And before you know it, you'll have like a really cool job, and you'll be really glad you did it. But if there's something else you really would like to do, and this is only if you're a hobbyist, then do it for fun and go do the other thing. That's it. That's my thing.
Yeah, well said. Everything Mo said is right. It really is about passion, and what an interesting metaphor that you're standing there by yourself right now. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And it really is about what makes your soul happy. None of us, and I can say this categorically, and by extension, the other people whom we've discussed this afternoon, none of us started doing this because we thought we'd make money at it. We did it because we can't not do it. And I moved to Los Angeles from Michigan because that's kind of where I had to go to see if I could take the next step. But the truth is, whether or not I was doing this for money, I would still be doing it. I would still be doing community theater, working with my friends. And the fact is, there are millions of people who want to do what you want to do. They may not necessarily be in your hometown, and they may not necessarily be in your family. I don't know your family, but my suspicion is that they want the best for you, and that's what they're looking out for. They love you, and they want you to do the right thing. Ultimately, the right thing is what makes your soul happy. Now, to surround yourself with people who are of a like mind is a big deal and will help you a lot. If you can get to a place where you find other people who are in the same boat, that's a big deal. I mean, these guys are all folks who love to do the same thing I do. And you'll figure that out yourself. So whether or not performing is your vocation or your avocation, it'll still find its way into your life because it's what drives you, you know? So follow your passion. And Freddie probably wants to say something.
No, just I'm agreeing with everything here. Just it helps when you love the work. Like you're saying, just if you're passionate about it, you'll do it at any cost, at any, length you'd go to do it. And when you keep at it and doing what you love, it's like playing music. If you love to paint, you're just going to keep going. It's just like that. You collect as much as you can, learn as much as you can, get as many voices you can, collect in your mind as you can. And again, when you love what you're doing, that's a big part of it. And it'll make your life a little easier too. That's a big part of it. Yeah.
I just want to add, I'm not saying don't do anything else for a living. You've got to pay the bills.
I know.
So if you've got to wait tables or, Harrison Ford did carpentry, and it actually ended up serving him very well because he got the job by working on George Lucas's house, But
thank God he's not an airline pilot.
Thank God.
But the money offers you that freedom too to do the pursuit.
So, but just press on. Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
If you live your life to please other people, nobody will be pleased, including you. At least if you live your life for your purpose, at least you are pleased. There it is. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks,
luck
everybody.
to you.
The very best of luck.
Rob and Monsieur
So great.
Lamache will be in A1 signing autographs in half an hour.
Yeah, we'll be downstairs, and we're going to be
Downstairs,
we'll be,
upstairs, wherever the autograph
wherever the
area
autograph
is. Get
thing
my
is.
autograph. See us.
We'll
Say
be
hi.
signing stuff, and you do not, please come down. If you want to buy something, great. If not, please come and say hi. We're very grateful to be here, and thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. You guys are the best. And thank you, sir.
It's really great. Lovely, bro.